Now, whenever I tell people that it's possible to save half their income, they always get very excited. And then I say that basically means you got to live on half of what you make, and then the excitement kind of runs out. I hear things like, I have kids, I live in an expensive city, I live paycheck to paycheck, I can't do it, it's impossible. So in this video, I'm really not here to convince you that it's possible. I'm here to show you how it is possible, because most people, when they hear this, they will be turned off and they would not even want to see how it's done, okay? But some of you guys, the crazy ones, long-term team, okay? The people that got problems like me, okay? You will be interested to see exactly, hey, how can I actually do this, okay? Is it possible? The answer is absolutely it is, okay? Now, with all this extra money you're able to save, you can invest it, you can pay off your debts. The whole point to this whole game is to have financial freedom in the sense that, hey, you don't have to worry that much about money anymore. So as always, guys, like this video and top out, also subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. By the way, only 20% of you guys subscribe, the other 80% are not, so go ahead and base subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot and you get all my content for free either way, okay? Now, the very first thing, guys, is this, okay? When it comes to saving half your income or living on half your income, you have to understand there are two ways to actually do this. Both ways are hard, and if you do both ways at the same time, you can get there even faster, but that is extreme. I did it. I recommend it, but I'm also a little crazy, okay? The very first way is basically, you can always earn more money, and there is no cap on how much money you're actually able to earn. Unless your skill is just on a per hour base, then that you only have 24 hours per day, minus 8 hours for sleep. It's only 16 hours a day you actually have to actually make more money. Now, there's also a second way. That second way is basically, you have to cut your expenses. But to a certain point, you can't keep cutting because at a certain point you're going to start bleeding. I know people that try to save so much that their life is kind of miserable, okay? And that's not what I want for you guys either. By the way, I'll tell you a secret tip I do to make sure while I'm saving, I'm also enjoying life at the same time. So keep watching this video. Now, the very first thing, guys, is this, okay? If you want to make more money, you got to ask yourself, what are you doing with your 6 to 10? Or your 5 to 10, okay? Basically saying, if you work a full-time job, well, I know for a fact that's a 9 to 5 usually, but what happens when you actually get home? That 5 to 10 margin, those like 5 hours, what do you do with that time exactly, okay? Or even, for example, your 5 to 12. Some folks are crazy. I'm not that crazy. I like to sleep, okay? But overall, all that extra time is time you could use to basically make more money, whether it's doing Uber, delivering pizzas, or basically just doing freelancing or selling stuff, whatever you actually want to do, okay? But that time is super valuable because in reality, if you're able to make an extra 20 bucks per hour and you basically get 4 hours, that's 80 bucks a day. An extra $80 that comes into your pocket, around 480 bucks every single week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and that's almost $2,000 per month. That's around 24K a year. That's a good chunk of money. And by the way, crazy tip here, okay? It just doesn't have to be like hourly stuff, but imagine if you grab that time, you went to Goodwill or you bought a few phones or you did a small business and you're able to basically do that thing and serve customers. You can make a lot more than 80 bucks an hour, okay? Well, 80 bucks a day. You can make a lot more. So that's always a possibility, but I always offer those very simple ideas because it just seems more feasible and you're able to start doing it while you figure out exactly what you want to do next. Now, number two, the second way to actually save more money is going to be to literally basically spend less money, saving money on your expenses, cutting your expenses, okay? And this is simple. You only have a few needs in life, and that's basically shelter, where you live, utilities, what you use, groceries, what you eat, transportation, what you drive or what you take to actually get to work or just transport yourself in this world, okay? Those are the four main mandatory expenses, aside from like healthcare and so on, okay? But usually if you have a job, that comes included, but if it doesn't, then you kind of put that in your budget. But that's the idea. Anything and everything outside of that scope is going to be, unfortunately, a want. and you absolutely don't need it. So you gotta look at these 4 big ticket items. Cut everything you don't need, obviously. But then when you look at these 4, how are you actually able to save more money here? For example, when I was in Puerto Rico for the first time, I was spending around $1,200 a month on rent. And I was like, this is a lot of money for like this very small, dumb apartment. So I went ahead and I got me another one for $725. Automatically, I just saved $500 almost, okay? So that made a big difference, okay? Not saying, hey, I'm gonna basically not buy coffee. No, that's like $3 or $5 like question, right? No, I'm talking about, for example, this big question, where am I gonna live? I save $500 extra dollars. That's $6,000 a year. That's a big difference. Utilities, okay, what do I have in my house? Okay, whether electricity, water, gas, my phone bill, my internet bill. Well, these things, how can I save money here? Well, instead of having, for example, an $80 a month plan, I'm gonna basically go to a $15 Mint mobile plan. That saves me a good chunk of money. Instead of having, for example, the premium internet service, I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey, I'm gonna just get it for the basic plan for like $20 a month. And that works just fine for what I need it for, okay? So doing those very small moves there in big ways make a big difference. Groceries, well, what do I eat? Okay, am I going out to eat all the time, or am I doing meal preps? Do I know how to cook? If the answer is no, YouTube it, okay? YouTube has everything. So I'm able to spend $200 a month on food instead of $400 or $500 eating out and so on, okay? Makes a big difference. Transportation, what do you drive? Do you have a car you bought and you're paying off? Or do you buy a car in cash? Although it is trash, it's a 1997 Toyota Corolla, it is yours though, right? You could drive it, you put gas in it, you're gonna pay anybody. That makes a big difference. Those are big budget questions. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay? Once you figure this out, like, are you gonna be making more money or are you trying to cut things out? I would do both, basically, by the way. This way you actually do a lot more than the average person. But then the question becomes, where am I putting this money and what exactly am I gonna do with this money? And by the way, I faced the same question. When I first did this, I saved in 6 months $10,000, the most I ever had. And in less than 6 months, I had spent all the money on absolute garbage. I was so focused on a number that I didn't focus, for example, on what I'm actually gonna do with the money. By the way, you want to have a separate high yield savings accounts for this money. This way you're not tempted to actually use it and take it out, and it takes a while to actually get the money there, and it takes a while to take the money out. This way it's like, I want to buy this, but the money takes 3 days to come. In those 3 days, it gives you time to think and reanalyze your decision. Now, what you're gonna do with the money is one of these 4 things, step by step, not all together, because when you first get started, you usually just want to invest money and make more money, have your money work for you. But depending on where you are, that might not actually be the best thing to actually do. Let me explain, okay? So, number 1 is, if you're in debt, you're paying somebody interest. That is a lot of friction. If you stop working, you still owe money. It will still go up. So the very first thing I recommend the average person do is basically pay off your debts, every debt, including, for example, your student loan debt, personal loan debt, your credit card debt, all debt excluding your mortgage, because that's massive, okay? So pay off all that debt first, okay? So all your extra money, making an extra $2,000, save an extra $1,000, that's $3K per month potentially. Put all that money towards paying off debt. In 1 year or 2 years, you're basically done there, but it's done. Once you pay it off, don't get back into debt. Make that choice. Number 2 is, okay, you gotta save for emergencies. They call that the rainy day fund or the life gets hard fund, okay? Things happen. For me, I'm a little pessimistic sometimes, okay? So I like to have 6 months. Me personally, I even have 2 years right now, and I'm pushing into 3 years, but that's only after you have enough money to retire, because you really want to have enough money in case the market goes down. But more on that later, okay? But overall, having 3 to 6 months is more than enough. And that money is going to take care of you. So whatever your cost of living is per month, multiply that by 3 or 6. That gives you 3 months or gives you 6 months, and try to get to that goal first. Then the third goal is going to be to invest money into your retirement account, whether that's your job or your IRA or your Roth IRA. I have videos on that, so watch videos on YouTube. Type in, for example, TommyBryson Roth IRA or TommyBryson Invest, and you'll actually see exactly how those videos actually work. Now, number 4 is you want to, by the way, you're only investing 10 20% of your money. The more money you have left over, save it up for a down payment for a home. And that way you can basically buy a home you can afford using the 33% on a 15-year rule formula. Basically means, okay, the home you buy cannot be more than a third of your monthly income on a 15-year mortgage. This, you can afford it, pay it off faster, be done with it, and your cost of living goes down dramatically. Okay, that's what you want to do with your money in order. Most people are going to be either in the debt side or in the emergency side, okay? And that's more than fine, but it takes time to actually start investing, because when you invest, you should be doing it without debt and also with a full funded emergency account. That way you don't have to take money out if anything happens, okay? That's the idea. Now, here are some more ways you could actually do to save more money. Obviously, it's gonna come down to where you live. Consider, for example, if you live in New York, switching states, okay? Or moving a little bit further from the city. That way you save more money. Number two, what you drive. If you have a car, you can't afford the payments and so on. By the way, if you have a car, you have payments, you can't afford it overall. So consider selling that car and buying a car you can afford to pay off in cash. Number three is what you eat. These are the big things, guys, okay? So if you're going out to eat all the time, stop doing that. Eat at home, basically cook at home, meal prep, take that food to work. Doesn't matter if you eat like every now and then outside, but just don't make that a habit. And number four is exactly what you use. Anything that you don't need and you're broke, you don't need it at all, so just cut it out. Now, here's a secret tip that I use to basically make sure that I actually continue this plan. And it's basically, I take about 1 to 5%, now around 10% honestly, because I have a lot more freedom. But when I was doing this plan, it was like 1 to 5% of my income at the time, and I would use that income just for splurging or having fun on Amazon or going out to the movies or doing whatever I wanted to do, okay? Included all the money. So if I had, for example, my main job and a side hustle and I was selling stuff, I'll grab all that money, grab 1% or 5% of that money and use that to have fun. Now, this means you're going to get to your goal slower, which is fine for me, honestly, but it also means you're more likely to get to your goal because you're also enjoying your whole process while you're actually getting there. And that's how you're basically able to live on half your income. Now, here's a final part. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, it's very important because you might be asking me this, but Tommy, what if I only make $25,000 a year? How do I live on $12,500? The answer is it possible? Absolutely it is, okay? But it's not going to be a luxurious lifestyle. It's not going to be fancy. And it might mean, remember, okay, you can do both. You can save half your income, for example, but you can also make more money by doing more things out there. That's also an option. So consider all those things, okay? Now, once you do this plan, you're going to start noticing that basically you're going to be a lot more different than the average person, and you will get judgments, criticism, people questioning you, but you got to understand that average sucks, average is broke, average is usually obese, and that's not really what you want, okay? So remember, what you're doing is different because you want different results from what they already got, okay? That's it for this video, guys, okay? Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. If you made it all the way to the end, comment down below, I made it, so I know you made it all the way to the end of this video. As always, by the way, let me know exactly. It's 2023, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't even know anymore. And let me know by the end of this year, okay? What's your savings goal? Like, how much money do you want to have saved? And by the way, or is your goal paying off all your debt or saving up for emergencies? Comment down below, let me know. I'm interested in that. I'm curious. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Up here is another video. Over here is my Facebook, Instagram, and as always, long-term team officially out.